Well, if you or someone you know plays video games, do you know when to quit? How much is too much when it comes to gaming? Tonight, Fox's Lloyd Sowers talks to a man who says he's addicted to video games, and he says it almost ruined his life.
Ryan Van Cleve says video games became much more than just a pastime. It became hard to quit.
What's the longest time ever you have spent playing this game in one session?
Oh, 20 or 30 hours, easy.
From his preteen years into adulthood, gaming grew into a total escape from reality.
How are you?
He says he's in recovery now and able to put down the controller. But he says his addiction to gaming cost him his friends, his job, and nearly his life.
I ended up standing on the Arlington Memorial Bridge, just staring down on the Potomac and thinking, you know, my life is just such a pile of garbage right now. There's nothing going on good in my life anymore. It's wildly out of control. I might as well just jump in.
Van Cleve says not all players get addicted, but he's not alone. A report by the American Medical Association in 2007 found that 90% of American youngsters play video games, and up to 15% of them, more than 5 million kids, might be addicted.
If you told people on the news that 5 million American kids are in trouble, people would be like breaking down doors at, at senators' houses trying to do something. But because of video game addiction, most people don't even know that.
Van Cleve, a college English professor, says he's in recovery from his addiction, and he's written a book called Unplugged, challenging the traditional view that addiction is just about drugs and alcohol.
If you go to your regular mom-and-pop therapist, a lot of them don't know what to do. They don't take it seriously. It's not in the DSM.
The DSM is the widely used diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorders. Video game addiction isn't in it, because the AMA voted that more study is needed before excessive video gaming can be classified as a formal psychiatric addiction.
The U.S. is really slow on this one. Other countries, they're on board with this. China and South Korea call video game addiction their #1 public health crisis.
In China, massive internet cafes. YouTube video shows gamers spending hours. The Chinese government cracked down. They ordered cafe operators not to allow minors more than 3 hours of video games per day. The Chinese have even opened video game addiction treatment centers.
I think that video game addiction runs across racial lines, it runs across socioeconomic, gender lines. 40% of our gamers are female. A lot of people think it's only about a bunch of teenage guys, lurking in their parents' basements.
And Van Cleve says he's been contacted by the Navy, concerned that members of the armed forces are turning too much to video games to escape pressure and boredom.
And the fact that they've talked to me about this suggests that it's probably a bigger issue than we can even guess.
Van Cleve is already planning another book and talking about opening treatment centers for the still unofficial addiction that he says nearly cost him his life. Lloyd Sowers, Fox News.
And video game addiction could be classified as an official mental disorder in the next version of the DSM in 2012.
Get MyFoxPhoenix.com on your iPhone free at the App Store and stay connected.